scrapping life orientation from the school's curriculum to devolution of power to structures closer to communities are some of the resolutions adopted at the Inkatha Freedom Party's National Policy Conference. The party holding a two-day conference as the first since the passing of its founder, Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi. Incumbent leader Velenkosini Hlabisa says the IFP is ready to serve the people of this country after next year's much-anticipated elections. The IFP president, Velenkosini Hlabisa, joining me now on the line to talk to us about the outcomes of that policy conference. Mr. Hlabisa, thank you very much for your time. I'm just sad that we are unable to see you because of the connections. That's what technology brings us sometimes. But nonetheless, let's soldier on. At the moment, there are new recruits that are being introduced provincially. And let's begin with the issue of safety and security in the country. What did your conference resolve around that matter?
Good morning, Oli, and the viewers of Newzroom Afrika channel. Indeed, over the past 2 days, we emerged with clear solutions on challenges facing South Africa. One of the bigger challenges in our country today is crime. No one feels safe. South Africa has become a crime scene. Even if you're driving your vehicle on the road, you fear you might be hijacked. Even if you're sitting in your house or room, you fear someone might break in. Even if you're walking on the street, you are a target of criminals. The IFP is of the view that if you want to deal with crime, you must be tough on crime and criminals. Ensure that, especially in the previously disadvantaged communities, you provide police stations with sufficient manpower, with sufficient resources, vehicles, and every resource they need to ensure they effectively maintain a crime-free society. Our police should be reskilled in terms of taking statements, because many people just get free when the case comes before the magistrate because the statement was poorly taken.
Yeah.
We have seen so many such cases.
Mr.
We
Hlabisa,
need to reskill our police.
Let me actually step in on that very element that you raise around the quality of police training. These new recruits, these are people who are going to be interacting with communities for the first time, and one of those is exactly what you are pointing to. In fact, as we talk to you, there's a live picture coming out of one of the passing out parades. And so, importantly, Mr. Hlabisa, what is the IFP, or if you were the government next year, what is it that you would change fundamentally about police training? Because what you are saying is exactly the issue, the shoddy work of police officers that leads to criminals getting out scot-free.
So, Lynn, as I've said, one, in terms of the training, it must be an intensive training, and those who are already in the field, reskill them, retrain them, because most of them are far below the expected standard to ensure a crime-free society. It needs a bold step, not to be afraid, even looking at the people who manage the whole system in the police service. It should be people with capacity, with sufficient skills, even to an extent of a minister. You need to go to a minister, not just a political appointee, but someone who is qualified and advanced in terms of policing, so that you ensure you have someone who will be on top of the game, other than someone who will be a politician running up and down from one province to the other.
Yeah.
Secondly, devolve power to the lowest level. The police, education and health should be controlled at a local sphere where people live, where accountability will be at the closest range. Currently, police are accountable at a national government level.
Yeah.
A mayor, a councillor cannot do anything, even if they see a shoddy work done by police. All they can is just to complain through telephone, which can take months before it is being attended or not attended at all.
Yeah.
But once you localize, you devolve power to the local sphere, there will be efficiency in terms of the performance of the police because they are being monitored at a close range.
Let's move on from policing matters to health issues now, and that's one of the matters that affects communities directly. You've compared the national health insurance and its possible outcomes if adopted as it is, or if it is signed into law as it is. You've made comparison to the outcomes-based education, OBE for short, and you're saying that it will have similar devastating consequences as we saw in the education sector. What do you mean by that?
Definitely, Xoli. When the government of our country was warned that OBE is going to be a disaster, they did not listen. They forged ahead. Few years down the line, they realized this is a disaster. They abandoned it. Unfortunately, there are casualties, the handicapped children who were a product of that education system. Now, the NHI bill is a recipe for disaster. It does not have a funding model as to where the money is going to come from to fund this NHI. Secondly, there was poor consultation. Medical Doctors Association for Medical Professionals, they made a range of suggestions. All their suggestions were completely ignored because there was not even a response on the submissions they made. I'm sure, Xoli, because you are in the media space, even if you go to any media or social media, online media, almost the host of people are expressing disapproval of the NHI bill as it stands because there is no transparency. Our government is known of being poor when it is time to pay for services done for the government. Currently, Xoli, hospitals, the security companies looking after our hospital, most of them are not paid, running up to 4 months. And exactly this is what is going to happen in the NHI bill as it stands.
Yeah.
Medical doctors will see patients in their surgeries, give medication. When it is the time to claim from the government at the end of the month, there will be no money. Our government is poor. This will be a disaster. That is why almost all medical doctors say we will have to close shops and try in other countries how we can perform our profession as medical professionals because the NHI bill lacked consultation. It is not transparent. We do not know how are we going to be compensated once we have performed activities for the government. The IFP believes the government should concentrate in upgrading the previously disadvantaged hospitals in terms of employing more nurses, more doctors, providing infrastructure, look like a hospital, not a deserted place.
Mr. Hlabisa,
that is how you can.
I'm sorry to rush you.
Thank you.
Apologies.
Thank you.
Time is against us. Let's then, in short, what exactly is the message of the IFP to President Cyril Ramaphosa, whom this bill that has been passed by both houses, National Assembly and the National Council of Provinces, it's now dependent on him whether he signs it into law. What's your message to him shortly?
The message to our president: listen to people of South Africa, the stakeholders, we all have a common and a good interest for the health of our nation, but we cannot afford another disaster, and unfortunately on health matters, as we saw a disaster in education that resulted into a handicapped nation out of the OPE. I only believe our president this time around will listen just to give an ear, refer the bill back for more consultation and views from stakeholders that will be affected.
All right. Final question to you. And we've got so many issues that we can discuss about our country and therefore your policy conference resolutions. But politics also plays a big part in this country, Mr. Hlabisa. You, as the leader of the IFP, are clear that you are a participant in this multi-party charter that is spearheaded by the Democratic Alliance. But your youth league, or should we say your youth brigade, because that's what the IFP's youth wing is called, they are completely opposed to the IFP being party to this. Is this something that you ultimately are going to pull out of, or you are going to ignore your youth structure?
Xoli, the multi-party charter is no longer spearheaded by the DA. The DA had an idea of a moonshot pact, which collectively we changed into a multi-party charter. Then, when it comes to the issue of the two leaders of the youth brigade, because it is not the entire youth brigade, they took an irresponsible step because they sit in the NEC, where the matter was discussed prior to went to the meeting, and where the matter was due to be discussed on Monday, and they chose to communicate their view to the media on Sunday. And we discussed with them that, but look, this is very irresponsible because you have an opportunity to sit in the NEC and express your view. We concluded the matter. The youth brigade in South Africa is in support of coalition politics because currently the partners in the multi-party charter are our coalition partners in 13 municipalities in KwaZulu-Natal, in Tshwane. The members of the charter are a coalition partners with the IFP as we speak now.
So let me rush you once again. So let me rush you once again, and I'm sorry to cut in. So two quick questions that then arise out of this. Are the youth brigade leaders going to be disciplined for what they did? But also importantly, why is it so important for the IFP to be part of this multi-party charter? How will it be of benefit to broader South Africa?
On the question of is there going to be any disciplinary process, the answer is no. The IFP believes in the freedom of expression. What they did, they expressed their view, we engaged them, and we came into a common agreement that, look, you can't be half pregnant. You can't be in a coalition currently, and then you say you don't like coalition. We closed that matter amicably with the two leaders of the youth brigade. And how is this going to be of value to South Africa? Xoli, if you look at COJ, Johannesburg, where you reside, it's a disaster. It's a coalition that was not well prepared for in advance. Coalition government has come to stay in South Africa. Clearly, the ruling party has destroyed our country. People will take it out of power next year. We have to prepare beforehand for a stable government. If COJ was South Africa, we will be a joke in the world to have a government like one we have in COJ currently. So now the value to people of South Africa is a stable government, a government which will have sufficient checks and balances, not dominated by one political party that at times will use a majoritarian principle, like in the case of Phala Phala. If it was a coalition government, the Phala Phala scandal would have been exhausted to the core to find the truth about it, but through one-party majority, they rejected the report that was done in order to scrutinize that report further. So therefore, a coalition government is going to be a stable government in South Africa that will be able to come with multi-approach in terms of crime, unemployment, load shedding, poor education system, corruption. We will be vigilant in fighting against corruption because it will not be one political party, but a range of political parties, but with a goodwill to rebuild South Africa and fix it from being a broken country as it is today.
Mr. Velenkosini Hlabisa, the leader of the IFP, thank you very much for your time.